live from the iBeacon Experience Days. We talk about smart cities, and with who do we do that? Who are you, and what are you doing?
I'm Willem Koeman. I work for the Amsterdam Economic Board as a technology cluster manager in the Amsterdam metropolitan area.
Technology cluster manager, that's what you say when you're at birthday parties.
That's what I say, and then usually people look at me like, just like you're doing. Technology cluster manager, it means that I'm looking at the ecosystem of technology companies within the region, try to see if you can find synergies between the companies, research institutions and the city, and build projects which give additional value, economic growth for the Amsterdam region by means of innovation, themes like these, to see if we can we bring this metropolitan area further within the economic growth. Usually we tend to have an agenda towards 2025, so it's a long-term agenda. We do this in collaboration with the companies in the region, with the universities, as we said, and with the city. So it's not just me, it's an organization which is built up from bottom up.
I always like talking to people who know what's going to happen in 2020 or 2025, so we'll do that later. And who are you?
Katalin Gaius, working for the City of Amsterdam Economic Department, and I'm Open Innovation Policy Advisor. What it means is actually we try to introduce new technology to make the city hall more efficient, whereas we also try to trigger startup involvement, startup growth in the city. And I work a lot with the European Commission, leading European projects that are actually bringing new technology for the city halls, working with different platforms, open source solutions. So I love technology, and I also like to help to work the city more smartly.
Okay, another smart man next to you.
Yeah, my name is Peter Manolescu. I work for Vodafone. I'm the business development manager in our machine-to-machine area, and I look after the development of our strategy for smart cities.
Yeah, and who doesn't know what a smart city is? What do you say at parties?
What do I say at parties? Well, I say essentially I'm creating the future that you guys are going to live in.
Yeah, well, tell me. What's going to look like?
Well, crystal ball gazing. Okay. Essentially what is going to happen is that you're going to be living in a much more, a world where you're surrounded effectively by little helpers via the communications technology and the IT technology that's coming along. So you will have a world that is contextual. Your devices will know where you are, and predictive in the sense that it'll have a very good idea of what you're going to be doing and give you the kind of information you need to make life a lot easier for you.
Yeah, we'll talk later on how. And you?
My name is Mieke van Heeswijk. I work at the Waag Society as a program developer. And what I do is, and I also have a foundation which is called Network Democracy. And what I do and what my personal interest is that I want to look at democratic changes concerning technology innovations. So what's going to happen when the city becomes more important, the nation state becomes less important? Do mayors have to make decisions about privacy of their citizens, or does it have to be on a national level? Well, those kinds of questions.
Okay, so what you all have in common is how technology makes our life better. Is that a good thing? Or let me come back to you first. So give me an idea. Let's do it in 5 years' time. How smart is my city then? I live in Amsterdam. So where do I see the results of these sensors and surrounding me?
Okay, I think you'll see two areas. Firstly, the things that will happen citywide. For instance, parking will probably be a lot easier for people coming into the city. Rather than trying to hunt around to find a parking space, you'll have a pretty good idea exactly where there's an empty space, be guided to it, go and park your car there, and the charging will be automatic. It will go straight onto your mobile phone. So there will be less congestion through a number of reasons, a number of technologies that are coming along. From the more, if you like, commercial side, things will be happening within the city. You'll be walking down the street, and as long as you've enabled and allowed the app, as you pass a digital display, it'll say hi and actually say your name And it will know, because your mobile phone will know what you're doing. It'll know, for example, that you've got 20 minutes to spare. It will know that there's a certain sort of leather boot that you love. And it will tell you there's a great offer on leather boots just around the corner at a shop you didn't even know existed. And that's a win-win-win for everybody. It's a win for you because you get a great offer. It's a win for the shopkeeper. And it's also a win for the city because it makes it a more attractive place for the retail experience and also for tourists when they're coming in. So we're looking at a more interactive environment, one that really helps you in every sense.
Yeah, and I ask you, why is it important that the city becomes smart?
Of course, you see also the budget regression we are facing, and procurement decision has to be made more efficiently. And we have very limited resources in the city hall, and that worries me also a lot, that how to spend this money really efficiently. What I see happening, that we have a new emerging layer of technical people that are actually working half voluntary through hackathons. So that is what I call civic tech layer. And the city will be almost enforced to plug into this civic tech layer. Currently, we are more inclined to have big procurement decisions working with one big vendor. But I think we have to change this structure radically if we want to be smart, because there are many smart solutions. And that I like in the European projects, that we can work with experiments. But these experiments are demonstrating new technology, and you can teach actually decision makers in the city hall to look differently, not to have one big vendor, I don't want to say a name, but because then it creates a vendor lock, and that's a severe problem.
Yeah, and what do you see before your eyes when you look at a smart city?
If I look at a smart city, well, I think first of all you need to recognize the things which are happening in the world, and it's that more and more people are going to live in cities, in metropolitan areas. Nations in itself, the nation borders, are not going to be this important any longer in the future. You'll see that people will look and come to places where they can share their ideas, meet other people, and gain more individual freedom from doing so. And I think this is one of the drivers which really pushes the smart city thinking, that you need to enable an efficient city, a metropolitan area, in which people who will come to this city, because it will grow, will be able to actually live, go shopping, go parking, go whatever they want in an efficient manner. Because if we continue to go like this, we'll have cluttered cities, we'll have cities with a lot of pollution. So we need to think of ways to make this movement of people going to the city livable. And I think this is one of the main drives behind smart cities. And technology is one great driver to do so. We can solve these issues with technology. I also tend to think that usually these are social problems, so we cannot solve all social problems with technology, but technology is a good one to really work on it. So I think this is great. It's a movement which really drives smart city growth.
Yeah. And when we talk about the democracy, so where does technology come in there?
Well, that's really a difficult question, of course, because we see that also national states are really figuring out what their role is in technology at this point. And what I see, and it's kind of a skeptical view, but I go to a lot of smart city events, and I see everywhere the mayor being the king, the new king in town, and he has new power there. And I think we really should engage other people thinking about the role and the power of the cities in this technical perspective, because the cities are going to work with big companies, and they will make agreements with them. But will this mean that in Rotterdam I have a different privacy, technical privacy profile than in Amsterdam? I don't know that, and I think it's really interesting to talk about this and see how it will evolve in the future. I cannot predict the future, but I think it's good to talk about it.
Yeah, but isn't it, that's what I always think when I am allowed to vote again, isn't it a bloody shame that we don't do anything with all the new communication tools we have when you concerning democracy? Why do I have still to vote for one party that's doing something for 4 years, and can I not, or can I share my knowledge along the way? If I want to do that, I have to join the party, etc. That's, I think, so primitive. I think maybe that's.
Well, that's what we're working on with network democracy, and we did one of the first hackathons in the second chamber 2 years ago. So you see changes now coming up and opening data from Parliament and from government. It's going slow.
Yeah, I did read an article the other day. It was about algorithmic laws. I think it was something like that. Someone gave the example. I think it was in the Guardian, saying why do we have to like now is you make laws and they're sort of set rules for a long time, and they made the comparison to, for example, in Gmail. We don't have a set rule of what is spam, but Gmail learns from us when we say that this is spam and I don't want to see it anymore. Do you see? And they said, why can't we do that with a lot of sort of law kind of stuff as well? And this, we need less government instead of more government. Can algorithms help us?
Yes, I think they can. And you see trends like I believe in Finland you have open ministry where they put everything online and citizens can engage making laws better. Last year we did a masterclass with students about, not laws, but about rechtspraak, what is it?
Yeah, well. Laws, yes.
Litigation.
Legislations.
Yeah.
And there was a professor, I don't remember, Marga Groothuis, and she said there's an experiment with making algorithms and legislation. So algorithms can sentence people maybe in the future, but we really should look at those algorithms and make them open. So because it's democratic, we make them open. Yeah.
We don't know a lot about the algorithms of Google. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Peter, you promised me controversial stuff, so I wouldn't leave it to the end.
Okay,
so,
right. Well, I think what I'd like to do is respond to an earlier comment about larger companies and lock-in. Actually, for my own company, we are totally against lock-in. This is anti-economic, it's anti the interests of everybody. And can I just say that, first of all, one of the things that we support, and I think it's absolutely crucial, is that we develop open standards for smart city in terms of the data, in terms of the technology and everything. Because with an open standard, you get a maximum number of companies bidding for any specific project. You don't get lock-in. You get quite the reverse. You get a much more level playing field, and from an economic point of view, everybody wins. You get the best value for money for the city, for the taxpayer, and everybody. So I would say that that we're beginning to see some open standards. They should be reinforced. They should be adhered to, and everyone should play a part in that and develop and adhere to those standards to make sure we don't get vendor lock-in, which is bad, and we've seen bad situations there. A good example of that is public lighting. We've had companies, just a few companies have really controlled public lighting, and they've gouged the market for years. And we're now getting an open situation whereby, with the arrival of LEDs, we get a huge reduction in the amount of energy and power that's used to light the city, with an increase in the capability of the lights. Then you actually free up a lot of the very precious budget there is. But then I would make a real... this is a big ask. I would like administrations to make some big decisions. I've seen a lot, and here in Amsterdam here, lots and lots and lots of pilot projects, itty-bitty little pilot projects. But where are the big ones? Where are the big ideas? When is Amsterdam going to say, here's a city, we ban any petrol or diesel-driven cars being in there, only electric cars in this street? When are we going to see stuff like that? That will drive the producers. That will drive companies in to produce things that will benefit everybody. What I don't want to see anymore is lots and lots and lots of small projects, and in 5 years' time, all we're still seeing is lots and lots and lots of small itty-bitty projects.
Are they excuses?
Big idea. To some degree, yes, because they get a lot of column inches. The politicians associated with them can be seen shaking hands and smiling, and we've got this initiative and that initiative. We've really got to do it now. Not just talk about it, do it. And that means spending money. And there will be money. If we save money, for instance, with light-emitting diodes, that money should not be kept in that manager's little area. It should be taken by the mayor and spread out into other areas that can benefit for the whole of the community.
Yeah. Of course, you are not responsible for all this stuff, but yeah, you're the only two I know who are close enough to the mayor to us. Yeah.
Which projects first? No, in a sense, I agree. On the other hand, I would like to say that Amsterdam and piloting, it's things which really go together very well. Amsterdam, in a sense, is a test bed. We're open, we're tolerant to technology. We have a lot of independent developers who like to work on new technologies. So there's a reason why we have so many pilots. So I wouldn't say just ban the pilots. I think that let's keep the pilots, but let's put something big up on there. And I think, well, where do you start? I think Amsterdam would be a great place to start testing metropolitan solutions for metropolitan issues. And we're doing so step by step. As you might know, a new institution has opened, the Amsterdam Metropolitan Solutions. That's a place which is going to do research and teach people in smart city solutions, but also is going to initiate projects. And I think that's one of the steps we've made. That's also a place where a lot of euros and money, time, policy has been put in. But there could be done a lot more, and I agree.
Yeah, but does Peter understand enough the problems of course, a company can always say that we're going to release a different... that's a lot easier,
more
isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
I will start with a different approach. I think the crucial problem in cities, because I fully agree, we should have big, large-scale, monumental projects like a dynamic transport flow, and Amsterdam should be the MyPile to introduce that. What is problem is leadership and scattered political decision. And Amsterdam is very decentralized. That's a huge problem because we miss the general overview because we are so decentralized. But I think what helps a lot city halls to have the right people in charge of technical decisions, internal capacity building. So therefore, it's very important to talk to the decision makers, to the mayor, to the general secretary, and even managers. They have to understand the sensors, what is the dynamic transport flow. Very often they put money, in my eyes, very outdated, to a project, 1.5 million, just to make an app store. And it strikes me, yes, it does, because open source, you can do it for 50,000 euros. So it's completely inefficient, the decisions, and very often it's protecting their own position to have the same people working on the project. I think what still helps for the city, the pilots are needed. Why? Because we need to train the internal decision makers that it's a good thing. And the more thing we have, I think we somehow have to have more technological insight. It's a lot of work. But one example Amsterdam is doing, we started last year, Open Data Institute in London. I was a little bit fighting that Amsterdam should be actually a node city, which means that we can train people how to use open data, internal decision makers. And that's a very good institution, has very acknowledgeable name that can help us to train people. So internal trainings. But I hope we will be there.
Mieke, do you agree with the speakers here?
Yes, I think that's not only in Amsterdam, but we lack vision on technology nationally as well. We have a project within the Waag, it's called Fix the Internet, and that's in the post-Snowden era where we live in. We really need politicians who know what tech is about. For example, in the Dutch parliament, we only have one person who really know what tech is about. So we indeed should educate local decision makers in what technology can do and what decisions they have to make upon. And yeah, I totally agree with this.
It's also a little bit human resource management.
That's right. Peter, isn't what you both say, you talk about decentralization or centralization. Is the strange thing is you need now someone or some people powerful enough to do something. And the other hand is one of the big things, of course, happening everywhere is, or be it Bitcoin or whatever it is the decentralization of everything. And you need, maybe for big change, sometimes you need someone powerful and people believe and that want to join them. And on the other hand, we see more things getting smaller, like companies well, of course, you work in a big company, but a lot of people say that big companies are sort of a dying breed, and there will be all, say, small companies that work in different settings all the time. So, can those two things go together?
I think they can. I think they can. I think that the role of the decision maker isn't to get into the nitty-gritty decisions. It's to create the framework. For instance, I think it's Helsinki has just announced, and they think they've set a date for about 10 years hence, they are going to have a city which will only have electric vehicles in it. That's it. That's going to be a law. Okay. Now, how it goes about, which vehicles, how the charging system works, that's not for the city to say. The city creates the legal framework for that to occur and imposes and enforces it. And then companies, large and small, and individuals do what they need to do to create this what I think is a very, very clear and very bold and very visionary outcome. And that's the kind of thing I think we're looking for. We're looking for a framework, but within which each player can contribute something, and everybody gets a lot out of it.
Yeah. Those 2 days here are about iBeacon beacons. When we talk about smart cities, how can they play a role?
Oh, I think iBeacons and all sensors alike can play a huge role. I can imagine within transportation they can play a great role. Within the public transport, just being able to see how full a train is with passengers. Should I take this train? No, it's already no seats left. I'll take a second one. Things like those, giving more insights. I think beacons are really good at delivering this kind of value, being able to directly see what's related to your needs with real-time information, and so I see quite a big future for beacons, more than just the things we're doing right now, which is about shopping and advising you like this is also for sale. You know, there's a lot more to do with it, but it's we do need some more experimentation with it before we start saying, city, let's go for beacons. So I see a great future, and I see especially a great job for the developers here within Amsterdam to explore the possibilities of beacons and show them to the city, like, hey, this is what we could do with sensors, with iBeacons, and let's help us make this decision of what are we going to do with it.
How do you look upon the beacon?
Yeah, I see also as a new emerging chance for the city, not just in terms of indeed commercialization, because people are a bit afraid that, oh, if I'm queuing up, I will get alerts that I should buy this and this. Not necessarily. We should actually already now we should make a kind of small pilot that it's also for public widgets, that you can get an alert that, oh, maybe the library has a very nice talk show, I would be interested to go, because they know that I'm actually passing by. That public usage should be, I think, the next stage you should experiment with beacons. But I think it's also the training the people, also a little bit mapping the needs from the citizens, what would make the city congestion easier, maybe cultural consumption, so maybe more like shifting a little bit to public interest.
Yeah, Peter, you work in a sort of commercial company. So what you see is a lot of people, like you say, a lot of people come up with, of course, the shopping thing. Of course, it's an obvious thing because people want to sell, people want to have maybe relevant information, etc. What other things, especially when we talk about, say, smart city, and let's for now forget the retail. How are beacons going to help us?
Well, in a number of areas, many of which we can't see very clearly at the moment. I think the examples that were just given are great in terms of transport, in terms of public use, but they could even be in terms of private area. There's nothing to stop people having beacons inside their houses in order to help themselves in a number of different areas. If a visitor comes to your house and just needs information about local bus times, crazy things like that, or how to get a taxi if they happen to be staying there. So I think really if you had a brainstorm, you'd come out with a list so long it would take an hour to read. So there are lots and lots of different areas. But I think the key thing here isn't so much the specific applications. It's the fact we're moving into an arena where we are surrounded by information. But the important thing is it has to be relevant and pertinent information, relevant to what you're doing and where you are. And that's where I think the beacon really helps. Yes, we've all got iPhones, we've all got Androids and so on, and we get information, but we pull it in a rather disparate manner. Yes, we can get some location-based stuff, but this is much more precise. It means that you know where you are, you hope you know where you are, and the beacon could help there as well if you're lost. But not just that, it can help you in what you're trying to do. And the interface between the beacon and the intelligence that comes from the phone and connection to the cloud means that it can help you in a much, much better way and achieve your objectives and show you options that you probably weren't even aware of when you made the inquiry.
Is that the phase where we're in? Because it seems like really, of course, with working models, etc. But at least in the Netherlands, it seems like really early days. And the first thing people seem to most of the time go doing when there's something new, do something old, but then in a new way. Are we in that phase that we know there are a lot of possibilities, but we still have to find them out?
Yeah, probably. I mean, most people didn't really know what to do with the internet when it came along.
No.
And now it's just part of life. You don't even think about it. You just look it up on the net. That's it.
I think there are huge potentials if we can find some niches on ICT-enabled public services that are running through beacons. Is it like a widget or alert or something like keeping up your own personal profile? Because this is also what the Commission wants in these years, to have more public services running through platforms, capturing ICT solutions, but make it as personal as possible, and try to make use of the technological solutions.
And can it help? Can the beacon help democracy as well?
Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning, and I couldn't figure out yet how democracy. Go vote. I don't know. Well,
no, but of course the other way around. Of course, it collects information, and of course, I would say government can do better stuff when they have better information.
Yeah, in respect of government, and I think it can help. On the other hand, because we now live in our participation society in the Netherlands, and we have less government and more citizens helping citizens. Yeah. I think in that area it can help. For example, there was an idea that people can help disabled people in public transport. So you can send out an alert as a disabled person, and somebody comes along and just helps you along. So these kinds of solutions. But about, well, I didn't figure out how iBeacons can help democracy. Maybe we should start a hackathon on that one. But
yeah, or do you, one of you have an idea? No? we need a hackathon.
By a polling station, go vote. Something like that.
Even if you have a reconstruction plan going on, like Waterloo plan, I work there. Waterloo plan is, for me, brings always stress. Just to pass by, and the bicycle traffic, the marching tourists. So it's, if there is a concrete plan, like reconstructing it, and if you pass by, even if it's a tourist, and it would poll ideas. There are many intelligent solutions like augmented reality that you can draw in things, how to put there more trees, because it's a very restless space. I think in Amsterdam this is a Bermuda triangle that actually brings so much stress, even by car, but even just passing by. So I would call it for iBeacon as a perfect place to experiment on public ideas. How would you reconstruct, redesign, how to make it more fresh area to pass by?
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's crowdsourcing. You could use iBeacon for crowdsourcing, yes.
And is
mobile apps.
Yeah. And technically, is it precise? How precise is it? The iBeacon technology. How is it? For example, the GPS is not so precise, and
it is and it isn't. It's precise in the sense when you're next to one iBeacon, then you get the information associated with, assuming you have the app on your phone, of course. But in terms of actually locating a person in space, it's not that accurate yet. It's not like you can triangulate exactly where somebody is. There are other technologies which will probably do better than that. But in the general area, yes, it will. You can pretty much work out where somebody is with a variable accuracy. Let's put it that way. So I think, like all technology, there are limitations. It's not meant to be something that will make sure you're there within 3 centimeters radius. That's not what it's good at. What it is good at is saying, well, you're in this general area or close to this beacon, here's this information which may be pertinent to you. And I think we've got to be very careful to find out the limitations of technology as well as the advantages.
Yeah. And how, what do you think about the adoption of this technology? How fast will this be in all our stores or in our neighborhood or in our...
That is real crystal ball gazing.
Yeah, but you're good at it, I know.
I don't know. I tell you what will make it come alive very quickly, and it's the old thing, I'm afraid, and that's a killer app. That is something that, for instance, in retail, and this is where, don't forget, it was targeted at retail to begin with, is something that retailers really find useful and consumers find useful. You get that app, and it will go very fast indeed. You'll suddenly find them everywhere. If, on the other hand, it's just lots and lots of little apps around the place and you have to sign up with one organization for one of them and another one for another, then it will be slower. But if we've got a really big one that could spread right across the retail environment, it would explode. Yeah.
And how do you look in your company? Say why do you look at it, at this technology?
We're interested in anything that actually promotes, and very openly, we make our living now on data. Voice and SMS is less of importance to us. We still obviously offer it. It's very, very important. But the big thing is data. And this application, like many others, will generate more data, which will then make our offerings more attractive. It's really very simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you see this, well, very soon in all our shops?
Well, I think it's hard to say. I really know very little about shops and retailing, so that's going to be a place I really don't know.
Okay, or the public transport or the.
I think public transport is still one phase previous to beacons. Just being able to put accurate real-time arrival times on bus stops. That's, we still have to go there. And I think when we're there, then we'll go to beacons. So I don't think within the next few years you'll see them. But once again, if there's this killer app and there's this thing which could actually replace real-time information on the bus stops, well, maybe it is. But it's really we need to have one case which is going to show the really added extra value. Then I think it can grow pretty quickly.
Do you see that case?
I think it can help also in contactless payment. When you're tourist and you notice that maybe your card, you just ran out, you don't want to buy always this single ticket. You can buy also this collection, but you can also charge it, but then you have to find this automat that is working. So maybe that could be an area to experiment with contactless payment for public transport tickets. Yeah. Just as a very small pilot in Amsterdam. That could be for tourists very useful.
Okay, let's wait for all the things the guys over here are thinking of, and well, let's see how fast this smart city will be around us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.